In 1823, the first textile mills in Lowell, Massachusetts came to life, and with them, a new kind of worker stepped forward, the mill girl. Young, unmarried, often 15, maybe 20. They left behind farm fields and family kitchens for factory bells and boarding house rules. They came for something more. The founders of Lowell weren't just building a factory town, they were designing an experiment. They recruited daughters of New England farm families with a promise: good wages, clean boarding houses, moral supervision. For the mill girls, it was a chance to help their families or gain a little independence of their own. In their letters, they wrote of excitement, of factory work that felt fast, modern, new, of friendships formed in crowded rooms where they read, studied, and sewed by candlelight. Harriet Robinson remembered it as a village where young women met and lived together. The days started early. The work was relentless, 11 hours at a time, with bells marking the rhythm of their lives. But in those long days, these girls gained more than wages. They gained a voice. In the evenings, they wrote essays, read books, published the Lowell Offering, a literary magazine written by mill girls for mill girls. They formed debating societies, they talked politics, poetry, and purpose, and when conditions turned, they didn't just complain. They organized. As profits soared, mill owners raised rents and cut pay. By the 1830s, the girls had had enough. They staged some of the first organized strikes by women in the U.S., and they called them turnouts. Sarah Bagley, mill worker turned labor leader, put it plainly, "The whip that brings us to Lowell is necessity. Is this freedom? To my mind, it is slavery." These weren't passive girls working quietly in the background. They were activists, they were writers, they were fierce, and they changed the conversation about women, work, and rights in America. By the mid-1840s, that original workforce began to shift. The Irish potato famine brought a wave of immigrants, many of whom arrived in Lowell seeking work. Gradually, immigrant women, particularly Irish, began to take up more positions in the mills. By the mid-1850s, the mill girl was no longer just a Yankee farm daughter, but a reflection of the global forces reshaping the city. They still worked long hours, they still sent wages home, but the makeup of the mill workforce and the story of Lowell itself had begun to change. And yet the legacy of the early mill girls endured. They had carved out something bigger than a paycheck. They saved their wages at Lowell Savings Bank, the Mill Girls Bank. They carried trunks from job to job, like Eliza Adams, chasing work and sometimes freedom. And they left behind more than thread. They left behind a legacy of autonomy, advocacy, and ambition, because these girls didn't just weave fabric. They wove the first strands of a new kind of American story, one where working women had a voice and knew how to use it.